TV. Innovative content, global audience.
Hello, good morning, world. A very beautiful day to you from here, the world's capital city, London. My name is Princess Kessy. I have with me this morning on the show Inside Nigeria, of course. The one and only Daddy Kris, yes, and of course we have via call as well. Comrade Chukwume is a trade unionist and a senior journalist. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, listeners.
Yes, this is Inside Nigeria, where we bring you everything there is to Nigeria affecting us as a people and as a country as well. And today we put a focus on wage awards and palliatives. Palliatives that decrease. It has been from one, a lot of money being given out, a lot of funds being released to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. Of course, the workers are not finding it funny. This is something that is getting to every one of us, and people are really not finding it funny. Now, that Kris, before I bring Chukuma in, we talk about palliatives. We talk about awards, wage awards, which is supposed to cushion the effects because we're supposed the review of the minimum wage is supposed to be for next year. But wait, let's even ask Comrade, what is this wage award we hear about?
In a nutshell, it's like a palliative to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal, to the extent that the priority of government should be the welfare of the people, and haven't taken the decision to remove subsidy, and which has practically increased the prices of fuel, premium motor spirit to over 300% at the marketplace. So what the workers are saying is, instead of pushing the burden to us completely, we should be also able to get a salary award that would ensure that the increase would not affect other bills that workers have to pay. Recall that before the subsidy removal, Nigeria initially was said to be the capital of the world poverty capital of the globe. Then Nigerian Bureau of Statistics came out with a figure last year saying that over 130 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. So it's taking into cognizance this established fact that the trade union is advocating for wage award, so that when the right time comes for minimum wage review next year, it will be given, there would have been a good foundation based on the wage award to review the minimum wage. That is just what it is.
Okay. And now, Chukuma, the Congress did say that it's only the federal workers that have not benefited from the palliatives. Is that correct?
It's most agencies are yet to benefit. Most agencies, if you recall, before the last administration left, they did a 40% increment for staff, which was also made valueless with the subsidy removal. So what we are saying is, outside that that 40% increment, we should have something that is commensurate to the impact the PMS is having in our economy. We should be able to have a commensurate wage award so that the family of our workers do not suffer. So that's what we are saying.
Shukuma, thank you very much, Daddy Kris here. I know you. I can hear what the union is fighting for at the moment. But my first question is, what strategy has the union had in place, or are now putting in place, to sensitize both the government and the people on the importance of wage of decent wage for Nigerians? Because you agree with me that, thank God, you were able to say that the Nigeria is now known to be the capital of poverty in the world. And that can be fixed with only one thing, minimum wage. And I would like to come to that as we go on to the show. But the first question, as a big union, we are relying on you. What do you have in place in terms of sensitizing Nigerians and the public? Because when this awareness is there, then it becomes something that your case becomes easier for any human being to talk about. You know, the government will understand where you're coming from. The ordinary people will be with you. What method do you have in place? I'm happy you're all journalists, yes.
Okay. You recall that before the protest, 2 days warning strike that was embarked upon by the NLC, there was a protest, a nationwide protest on the 10th of August. That was to sensitize the workers and our government alike on the plight of the Nigerian workers. And this was not only to pass the message to Nigerians at large, it went with letters to the institutions of government to draw their attention to the plight of the working class, especially the Nigerian workers, who are driving the productivity of our country. So it is not about, the challenge so far has not been about sensitizing government or the Nigerian masses. The challenge has been the conviction of government to take action towards this larger population of the Nigerian working people, because they prefer managing themselves, because there are a small number of people who want to be making themselves happier than the larger portion of Nigerians who should be made better for the working lot. So that's the challenge. It has never been about sensitizing the workers.
Okay. Because I know we have good interest here. The most important thing is how.
Now, Chukuma, you did say that the challenge is not about sensitization, but of course, but for the government to understand the plights of the workers, right?
Yes, no, it's not the political will to make it happen. If you recall, the subsidy removal was done on the 29th of May upon assumption of office by the president. Mm-hmm. For any government that is people-oriented, that wants to reduce the plight of workers, what they would have done, the CNG wouldn't have been a difficult thing to start implementing to ensure that it starts reducing the plight of workers as soon as possible. But this is over 3 months thereafter, and we are yet to see any of the CNG buses running. We are yet to see CNG stations converting the conventional cars to CNG-enabled cars. So these are the practical solutions we thought should have come immediately for any conscious, any government that has the conscience to carry the people, the workers along. These are the obvious challenges. It's on the side of government, not from the workers.
Shukuma, the reason I asked for what sensitization you have been put in place is, I think you are making a case,
Yes.
you are making it like a political case, but I think the issue of minimum wage should be seen as an economic issue. Because if Nigerian government can implement minimum wage, a good decent wage for the people, more taxes will go to the government. It's a win-win for everybody. There will be less crime. You know, Shikuma, let me say this. I'm going to make it a good example. We are here in London at the moment. Unfortunately,
Yes.
the salary of my 2 hours work in UK is equal to somebody's salary in Nigeria.
Monthly
2 hours
salary.
equal
Yes.
to monthly salary of somebody in Nigeria. Now, why you argue that we earn more here, expenses is more? The reason is the government here taught it wise that when people are well paid, it even the society. You know, the only way government check a society is to use minimum wage. And I will make another case later. Can you hear me, Shikuma? There's a lot of noise there.
We are saying the same thing.
No, I don't. I want to finish what I'm saying. I thought we're not hearing me. I don't think we're saying the same
Okay,
thing.
so-
The economic case here I'm trying to say is that in the UK, for instance, we don't have drivers. Have you seen anybody that have a driver in the UK? They'll be here for some time. For anybody, ask them.
No.
We don't have personal driver. We don't have gate men. We don't have a policeman serving somebody. The reason being, not because we don't want to, because we cannot afford it. Because the government makes it impossible for you to enslave one another. And that is the point of minimum wage on one side. So it's not, when you implement a decent minimum wage, a decent wage, there will be no room for slavery. And think about it. We know in Nigeria, Shukuma, I want to analyze this with you. Some people have estates. In fact, some of them, if you go to Abuja, those buildings, nobody's living there. Because they have a lot, nothing to do with it. Now, this is the point. If because of maintaining the estate, let me explain it this way. It's easy for me to buy a car in London, but to maintain the car is a problem. I may buy a cheap car, and if I take it to the mechanic takes per hour for his work. So the cost of maintaining it is the human labor. It's about respect for the human labor. And when that is in place, you find society begin to open up. Let me make it simple. You have a big estate in Abuja. Now you need people to clean the house. You need drivers if you have 20 cars. So if you begin to pay them, maybe a driver 2 million per month, another one, a cleaner, 500,000. I'm sure you will not want to have more than 2 houses. The reason Nigerians continue to build and build and build because they have slaves. And perhaps that should be the case from the government point of view, trying to tell the ordinary people why the decent wages is important. It's not even a political issue. Now, the argument labor is coming in is, there's a palliative, there's no subsidy, we don't even need subsidy before. That's fine. But bring us a decent wage so that everybody in the society can live well and there will be peace and harmony. And I've never seen that in your argument. And number two, I'm going to ask the other question. Why is it that all you do is only about public sector? What happened to the private sector in Nigeria?
If you do your research well, you find out that we are already organizing the private sector,
Okay.
the informal sector.
Okay.
And when we that is why if you listen to me, I talk about the working class.
Okay.
The working class includes those in the private sector.
Okay.
So it's not about even those who are formally engaged.
Okay.
Those who are doing informal things and those who can work and that are not even working are included.
Okay.
Because they are part of the society. And the government must be conscious enough to carry these people along. And to answer the decent wage you talked about, from time immemorial, if you recall, from when the negotiation started from 18,000 naira minimum wage to when it got to 30,000 naira minimum wage, all the proposal of labor has been to pay a decent wage that is commensurate with our societal realities. But it is like I said, from time, it has been on the side of government because they downplay productivity and they just want to give you what they think they can afford. But in the proper economically sensitive society, you find out that government will try to up the game, make more people productive, because from your productivity, like you said, they will make profit because they will tax your products.
Exactly.
So, but we are downplaying productivity in our country, and that is why it seems that government is driving the whole process. If individuals, if individuals can be stimulated, it is a conscious thing that is done by government to stimulate the economy. Mobilize young people who have potentials but who have not gotten the white collar, the so-called white collar job. Every day they tell you they are creating this, they are creating that. We are not seeing the impact in our economy. They are giving our corporates money, money for agri. We are not seeing the food in the market. Food prices are rising. You know, the last administration spent so much money with so many nomenclature that we cannot relate with. But today we are not seeing the impact in the economy. And now we are even saying with the subsidy removal, which came after the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics 130 million multidimensionally poor Nigerian statistic, that more people would have gotten to over 200 million because the inflation rate has skyrocketed. And the resources till date, like I said initially, till date from May 29, when this subsidy was removed, till date, we are not seeing any concrete thing. The 5 billion that was given to governors by the president and the rice and grains that they said they released, that cannot go anywhere. Instead of using these resources to repair our refineries so that we know that 1 year or 2 years we are going to suffer this subsidy removal, and then in the next year we'll start producing our oil and it will come back to normal. But we keep sharing the money. We see governors, my president did the statistics of sharing, calculating the whole monies allocated to the 36 states and FCT, that it will not even get to one of the multidimensionally poor person up to 5,000 naira. So what would government have achieved, even if in reality they give every Nigerian 5,000 naira?
Chukuma,
so these are the issues we are saying.
Yes, Chukuma, I think you're
that
right.
We have to focus on something that is sustainable.
If I tell the government we don't need the money, we will even contribute 5,000 naira. If they tell us in the next 2 years, we will come out of this. And I think it's very important. That's why I said it should be made as an economic case to the government. Not even it's not a political issue. You understand? Because if you do this, government will earn more money, society will be more even. And I want to remind you, just in case you're not listening to me, it was the rich
and
people.
You engage more of your population
beautifully. And
to
you know
be productive.
And we talk about
you distract them from crime.
Yes, thank you.
Criminality.
You said it all. It was the rich people in Europe that introduced welfare package. Let me explain this to you. They know that if people are outside hungry, their security is at stake. So they make sure that if you're not working, you earn some money to go and eat. Otherwise, a hungry man is an angry man. Nigeria I don't understand how you could give a gun to somebody. You give 40,000 naira a month. You give him a gun to go on the street. You're telling him to go and rob. There's a robbery. You give him a gun to go and rob. You understand? So you cannot. You see, it's the rich people. They were the ones that introduced welfare package all over Europe. And today, Nigeria, we say they come here, they learn, and we take only the bad parts and leave the good. And Princess,
yes, now Chukuma, you did say that the palliatives for the states. This is where I want you to chip in something now. We're talking about palliative for states, and now we have this particular wage award is specifically for workers. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So if this is for workers, for how long is this supposed to be for? And what is the percentage?
That is the plight. What we are saying is that there should be a price, salary award of like 300. Okay, like so somebody who is earning the minimum wage of 30,000 should be able to get 120,000. That's like 300% increase in the interim, just to make the inflation that was driven high to over 300% by the subsidy removal to be commensurate with the salary and income of the worker. So that if you put 2 square meals on your table, now that you are paying more to get to work, you can still put those food on your table. But today, most families, they go back home, shame, and missed all they put at work. They come back, they don't have anything to give to their families. They look at them, at the families that were eating like 3 square meals, now they manage 1 or 2. So it doesn't present the breadwinners of such families in any good light. And these are even people who are working, let alone those who are not formally employed that are going through excruciating pains to sustain their family. So these are the realities of the society where we find ourselves. And we believe that government can do more to make it better.
All right. And my question is, I know this, I may sound not too friendly, Chukwuma. We're trying to have a conversation. My question is, why is your union not taking a decision? Some of these things might be painful. There can't be a pain-free approach to this. Why are you not taking a decisive approach that says, government, if you don't do this, we are not in? You can put us all in prison. You can do whatever you want to do. But until this is met,
that's where we are now.
This palliative,
that's where we are.
No, Chukwuma, because I'm aware that each time the organized labor try to have a decision or at a point of a decision, we always see, and we're not saying there's division within the organized labor, but there's this this tussle here and there between the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress. The TUC, they will always say, okay, they are not backing the strike or they are backing off. Why is it like that? Is that the reason why we can't have a decisive or come to a conclusion or come to that point where we say like that, Kris is asking, at this point,
yes,
it's
unacceptable,
yes.
We can't deal with it. From our position, this is who we are. We cannot do this because our people are slaves in our own land. Because that is the language. We're slave in our own land. And it's not allowed. So, and yet you see trying to, it's like you are still petting somebody killing us. You like you already said, people are going through excruciating pains.
Okay, let me just come in here.
Yeah.
If you recall, the last warning strike, 2 days warning strike, Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, was a follow-up from that protest. That's why I talked about the protest being a sensitization of the Nigerian people that government is not treating us well. Okay. And it was organized by the organized labor. Government is not treating us well. So we have sensitized Nigerians. We have written letters to authorities of government. The National Assembly on that day, which was widely publicized, the Senate President sent representatives who said within 7 days they will respond to us. Our leaders were invited. Thereafter, we did not hear any practical solution. Now we have called for 2 days warning strike. Good. We have gone for a 2 days warning strike to warn government to say we are going to embark on an indefinite strike 21 days after, 14 working days after the warning strike. And the warning strike just finished on Wednesday. We resumed work on Thursday. Okay. So the process is on.
So in 21 days, if nothing happens.
The process is on.
So in 21 days, if nothing happens.
After the elapse of this period,
yes,
Congress will summon its organs again to call for a review whether government has done what they have promised to do. If not, we will shut the country down because there will be a nationwide strike. If you recall, these 2 days, the 2 days warning strike, there was power outage everywhere. that for a start will show you that people who went to work well to leave the working place. Our leaders went around to ensure compliance, and it was very fruitful. Nigerian workers, in solidarity with the Nigerian Labour Congress, ensured that it worked out fully, over 90% success. So the next one, that if government does not heed to this our agreement, the next one will be a total indefinite strike that will shut down the economy of the country until government budge. So that is where we are now, because it is a process. Yes. Recall that it is not a one-man decision.
I agree.
And we live in a society where we are a legal entity that is subject to law. The International Labour Organization has its requirements for embarking on strike, and we try to ensure that we follow the process to the latter, so that we will not be found wanting at any point. And government on its own side is making all efforts using the courts to stop our activities and ensure that we remain. So we are like people in between the devil and the deep blue sea, but we are still moving, trudging forward, because we have the numbers. The essence of the union is because it makes us stronger. As an individual, we don't have any strength. The president, Comrade Joe Ajero, cannot individually shut down the country. It is that union that enables us to be able to enforce whatever positions we have agreed with government. And going forward, we believe that government will do this analysis on their own and heed to these agreements and start implementing them, so that there will be no need for us to go for an indefinite strike in this country.
Shukuma, straight on, be honest with us. Do you have division within your body? Because that is one thing that can divide us. If you have a strong union and you sensitize the public, because this is the two things I cry for. You understand? If you have a one body union, and you can tell the Nigerian people who are actually going through this that this is not an attempt to fight the government. Government, this is not an attempt to fight you. If you introduce this, you have more money, it's win-win for us. It's only trying to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, which ensures security for all. And then, ordinary people, this is what we're saying. You will have the total support of the country. So when you call it, everybody, even the ordinary man on the street, will say, yes, it is time we tell the government enough is enough. You see, most of this is civilized. I'm happy you're saying it now. You're doing it through the legal process. You have the right to call this because it is your job to take care of the country. Even the government is on your side. They're working for both. You're working for the government, you're working for the individuals. Make your case known, and for that simple reason, you're calling off a strike for the benefit of the government and the people. And I think that is why I talk about sensitization. So my question is, do you have division within yourself?
Do we have what?
Division within yourself.
No, there's no division.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Then
you see,
my next question is, how much do you carry? Do you have the support of the Nigerian people?
Oh, we in fact, I wish you were in Nigeria to see the level of compliance. If you follow the media,
yes.
The compliance for this, in fact, Nigerians it was long overdue. The strike was long overdue, so they were waiting in earnest to key in. Nigerians are sensitized enough. The poverty is crawling, knocking on almost every door in Nigeria now. Because even those who have little, you see messages, 5,000, 2,000, 3,000, just to survive their families from everywhere. So we cannot continue like this. It is not sustainable. Every Nigerian knows about the challenge and they are waiting for leadership. The Nigerian Labour Congress has proposed leadership, and we have initiated the process. We have gone on the 2 days warning strike, and it was a success. Compliance was high, and we said yes. Congress had to do a statement to say to thank Nigerian workers for ensuring that it was a success, and we called on government to also ensure that they meet our needs before the expiration of the ultimatum that will now give birth to a nationwide indefinite strike action.
Finally, I have only one
So
more question.
the truth.
Sukuma, one more question and I'll be quiet, right?
Yes.
See,
Okay.
if you recall, in the United Kingdom right now, we have the Labour Party. That is an offspring of a movement like yours. All right? Just to understand that. Even the Democratic Party in America is an offspring of labor movement. Now you have a strong union called the Labour. That's why I asked that difficult question, if you're sensitizing people. If now you're not getting what you want to get from the government, are there plans in place for you to constitute yourself and think about what you can do politically to make sure this country is restored by coming up with a political party?
You recall,
yes, sir,
the last elections, we are still in court. P2B did very well. It is because of his personality and where the party is coming from. Okay. The Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, the organized labor, they are the owners of the Labour Party in Nigeria here. And you check our records at the poll, we in fact, we are saying we won the election and we are in court. Even if the first phase of the court, we are going to the Supreme Court by the grace of God to ensure that that mandate is recovered. You will see that we performed creditably well, and that is the future. We must take power so that we'll teach some of these politicians how to lead people.
Thank you. And that's the key, sir. And then, so in other words, we have a movement already in place. Sensitization should be the next thing. We should be shouting, we should be crying to the Nigerians. When you hear Labour Party, if that is your party, then this is what we're saying. It's about the ideology, you understand? Selling the ideology. The rest I don't see what they're saying, but at least Labour now that you make me understand what Labour is, it should be ringing in the ears of every Nigerian that, hey, with Labour coming to power, this is, you see, we only follow Labour this time because of Peter Obi. I'm very sorry, you understand? Labour as a body trying to tell us how the country should look like. You are not selling the ideology of the Labour Party to the ordinary Nigerians. Believe me. Last time they said, oh, no other party can challenge Nigeria. But Peter came as an individual. His credibility challenged Nigeria. You understand? So if Labour is really keep doing it, I'm sure the country will have at least two strong political parties. The big boys and the workers. I'll keep quiet.
Anyway, we're going to
the desensitization is ongoing and it will continue. Recall that before the 2023 election, Peter Obi was just less than a year on the ballot, and it was because he came to us also. We also had that understanding. Yes. So it's a making of several factors. If he was having issues with the owners of the party, he wouldn't have achieved the kind of success he did. No. So it was because we agreed, we saw his personality and his ideology, and we agreed that this is the kind of leader Nigeria needs to take us out of the doldrums. So that is, we are progressing by the grace of God in that direction.
Very well then, Chukuma. I just hold that thought, viewers. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll still be here with Chukuma. It's Nigeria we're talking about and the people in general. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's politics time on SR TV with your one and only host, Dr. Kris.
We all must be part of the governance. So join Daddy Kris every day 8 p.m. to dissect on the political situation in Nigeria.
Hello, viewers, you're welcome back from that quick break. This is Inside Nigeria. Yes, we know that we have so much going on in Nigeria, a lot of issues, but today we put the focus on minimum wage, palliatives, and of course, wage award. Now, you did talk about Chikuma. With this wage award, how far is that going with you, with the union and the federal government? Because we know that the workforce, the workers and workforce is the stronghold of every nation. So how is that going?
There is yet to be any positive from government. We have been making our proposals. It's part of the things we are talking about that made us to go for the strike. So we hope government will implement it. Government is yet to implement it. In fact, the 40% increase for some of the federal status that was affected by the last administration, most of them, I think, are yet to benefit from it. So we still use every opportunity like this one. Those of us in the media should also make these projections to government that it is only sane for government to increase, no matter what the nomenclature they use, whether it's wage award, whether it's salary increase, to ensure that those who are coming to work are well paid to sustain their families and to remain productive. Now, some of the federal organizations, agencies work two times in a week, some 3 times in a week. So it reduces productivity. That is not how a developing country should move on that wants to become a developed nation. We must up our productivity. We are already saying we are not productive enough. It's now, with the policy of government, we are reducing our productivity by making people to come to work twice in a week, 3 times in a week, just to ensure that their salaries are not increased and all that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't solve the problem. So we are using this opportunity again to call on government to ensure that they implement this salary award as soon as possible so that they will reduce the suffering in the land.
And then we have a new minister, now, her, the person of Simon Lalong. Well, how's that going?
Unfortunately, he has not been, he claimed not to have been in the picture all this while, but what we are saying is this issue.
He is in Nigeria. He has been in the country. The issues of the organized labor and workers has been there. Even a layman knows these things.
Exactly. No, when we put up the notice for the warning strike, he came out to the media to say that he's new, he's yet to be briefed. Yes. Fine, let us assume he doesn't have this information. Yes. But government is continuum. Yes. He would not. He knows this better than myself. Yes. Government is continuum, and over the years, the secretary to the government of the federation, the SGF, has been chairing these committees, not even the minister. So that is a repository of the SGF is a repository of all salient information about government activities and their agencies. Immediately, if he had gone there to get the information, he would have been briefed properly. It's like I said, let's assume that he doesn't know. We hope that going forward, he would ensure that he is properly briefed, understands what he needs to know, and see how to intervene. What we need practically is a practical solution that enables us to ensure that our people, our citizens do not sleep hungry. Our workers can get commensurate pay for the services they render and the products they bring out. These are just which is not too much to ask for by any organization.
That is right.
You're right. Again, I'm going to take back to where I started this work with you. First, I want to thank you, the organized labor, for the great work you guys are doing for us. You're doing it for Nigerians, and I know how hard it can be to face the big power of the government. But then I want to see your movement. This is where, when I talk about organized labor, I see like a church. You know, one time I said to people, if a pastor will sit on the altar and preach, and at the end of the day, poor Nigerians will put hand in their pocket and make decent offering. If you sell this message to Nigeria, this gospel, if you preach the gospel of good governance, how a society should be governed, I think we ordinary Nigerians who will put in money. Peter Obi did not give us money. We were contributing money. I was raising campaign for him here for nothing. So if you had, that's why I ask again, how much is the organized labor really going out there to talk to us, ordinary Nigerians, about your vision for a new Nigeria? The vision where Nigeria will be a more equitable society, when there will be no more slavery. And we'll say slavery because who is a slave? A slave is someone that doesn't receive a decent wage for his labor. You understand? And that is what is obtainable. If that is the gospel you are telling me, and I will listen, yes, so these people are telling me something that I've never heard before. Not someone that's going to give me pop sound on the road and I say infrastructure, because that is the government we have in Africa. So, but you're singing a new anthem. How well are you really going to go back and preach this gospel so that we all key into it? It's very important, my brother.
Yes, I agree with you. It is very important. But if you recall, like I said, we and the Labour Party, we are the owners of the Labour Party, and like you had during the campaigns, P2P promised to move from consumption to production. That is the primary revolution, economic revolution theory that will transform our economy. If we get our people to work on the arable lands we have, agriculture, those who are not skilled, manual, those who are skilled, we can do a hybrid of agricultural, use the traditional means, use the mechanization means and all that, to ensure that first we don't import anything we can plant locally. Then secondly, export agricultural produce to use it to get forex. Yes. Third, ensure that our refineries are optimally functional. You will find out that our naira would now come back to what it was. Today we are changing a dollar for over 900 naira or thereabout. So we are looking at when we can go back to 50 naira, 150 naira, and it is this forex having products to sell in the international market that will help us to achieve that feat. So we have been at the campaigns. It took time, and like I said, we met with our leaders, and there was an agreement that this is what the kind of Nigeria we want, and this is the kind of Nigeria we are projecting. And we went to the streets to mobilize Nigerians. And you see you saw the figures as called by INEC. Even if it is a subject to a contest in court now, after this tribunal verdict, we are still going further by the grace of God, as have been confirmed by the lawyers. We are going further to push our case at the Supreme Court. If you see the mark, even with what the little time he had and the reach, yes, you see practically how people were happy because he came out, and you see the figures. He won 12 states. The president won 12 states. I think won 12 states. It's just the figures that are different. And we are saying that some of these figures were mutilated. We saw evidence in IREF, mutilated figures being uploaded. Yes. So we know that Nigerians know these issues, because they are issues that have been with us for a very long time. And the Nigerian people want change. It is just the system that keeps manipulating itself to bring back those that we don't want to be our leaders, to lead us. So that we are working towards that. We will ensure that we continue to mobilize people, and ensure that we also get laws that will ensure that it is those who we voted for that are announced.
Shukuma, sorry, I'm not gonna go into the political side, but I'm really interested in this. What you have just done now is you've told us the vision of the organized labor. So rather than really telling government these wages and this and that, hammer us, let us know more that this is the vision of the organized labor, more productivity. Government don't tell us you want to increase money, keep up productivity. Let that be the case. Let them be the demands. Because even this little money they're going to add is not going to change things. It will go a long way. But let it be a demand that you are fighting for the public. You're fighting for the public and the workers of Nigeria, and include creating jobs for them and being productive, like you just correctly said. Let that be let that be the key of the demand. Because from what is filtering through, it's not even the money. You want the country to be more productive. You want the refineries to work. You want us to produce things that we can sell out to the rest of the world and feed ourselves. Perhaps that should be the mission of the organized labor at this stage when the government is telling them, because government is going to say, no, they are asking for more money. No, we're not asking for more money. We're asking you to be productive.
Yeah, you see, there are long-term and short-term interventions.
Smart.
In the short term, our workers need to survive this subsidy removal.
That is true.
Because if you have relations in Nigeria, you will find out that they would have been calling for you to send euros, because if you change euros here now, it will give us good energy to speak well. So if you have relations, you find out that everybody is feeling the pinch. So what we need in the short term is for government to increase that salaries so that there can be a balance, something commensurate in the society. Then in the long run, that is why I had to bring back the picture of what played out at the 2023 election, even with the short time of organizing the Peter Obi campaign and all that. We were able to make an impact that was resounding. Even those who were saying there was no structure then, they were convinced, they were wowed by the impact that was made when the results were announced. So going forward, it can only get better. And we hope to consolidate on it because we have structures. We are believing that consolidating on that, the political side, will be a long-term project. If we at the end of the day, if it is the will of the court that our mandate does not return, that will now be a long-term project. But primarily now, our interest is to reclaim our mandate and ensure that the workers who are going out, they get something that they can go home with, and their family will not be adversely impacted by this subsidy removal, which is the case now.
Now, Chukuma, just before we let you go, how optimistic are we that the government will be willing to even buy into this wage award? Because the pains of the worker is our pains as well.
We will continue to be optimistic. It's not something we'll conclude about, but the odds are against us because they keep complaining that, those in the authorities of government, you keep hearing of ghost workers, those who have the duty of preparing salaries, they keep adding ghost workers so that they can inflate the salaries and take it out. These are systems. This should not be our concerns. It should be, government should do an in-house cleaning to clean off those who are not supposed to take money, that are taking monies currently, so that they can use it to give those who are supposed to receive it, so that they can earn decent wages. So for us, we are hopeful. In fact, it's our prayer that government implements it so that we just have a very sane society. Because people who do not feed well, who go to work with the family problems, it's landlord, house rent, this bill, that bill. When you go to work with that kind of orientation, you will be less productive. And when you go to work knowing that your bill are being taken care of because you've paid, you have the right salary to pay your bill, you will be more productive. This is what we are asking for. And for me, it is not asking for too much. It is about
the rights of the workers actually.
Protecting and enhancing the human dignity.
That is correct. And now, Chukuma, you did say that. So when are we expecting the next strike? That is, if government fails to comply. 21 days from.
Yeah, our 21 days from to be towards the end of the month. I cannot give an exact date because
we'll do a follow-up on that as well for updates. Yes.
The strike end of. You said?
I said definitely, certainly we'll bring you back on the show for updates to see how that is going.
Okay, that will be fine at your service.
Thank you so much, Chukuma. Is the viewers who've been on call with Comrade Chukuma he's a trade unionist, and of course he is a journalist as well. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. And thank you, Nigerians.
And thanks to the organized labor as well. We know that all that is not easy, and so we applaud them as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, viewers, this is Inside Nigeria. We've been on call with Chukuma. Yes, Daddy Kris, you heard it all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always unpleasant when it comes to the issue of minimum wage. It's biting me. I believe that we can do better. We can be the greatest country on earth. We have, the funniest thing in Nigerians is we have the money. We have the human capital. We have the natural resources. So that we are not putting it to good use. It's a question of leadership. And that's why I asked them, other than this, what have you done to take over power? And they've done well with the Labour Party. But funny enough, to be fair to them, they've done well. But it was only Peter Obi that made us understand what is Labour Party. Meaning they've not been doing their job.
Very well.
And that's why I said sensitization. And you can't stop.
So it seems they are more on the side of the minimum wage increase, not what they can as a labor, as a movement can offer to the people aside the minimum wage.
I think it's about that confidence and saying, okay, or believe in what you see, you cannot sell what you don't believe in. You go to a pastor that goes to church and doesn't even believe in God, or don't believe in the gospel, cannot sell it. You understand? And if you have the belief in the gospel, you have to have that conviction that this is the way to go. If the organized labor believe in what they're saying and they have the conviction that this is the way for Nigeria, then they will do everything to go for it on a daily basis, not even weekly, not this strike. It will be a continuous thing. When you ring the bell, it's a gospel that will continue to ring. And I think we need that because it will save Nigeria a lot.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. We know that they've been counting 21 days from the last strike they had. And we do hope sincerely because you see that there's a saying that the strength of any nation, the economy of any nation is the strength of the workers. It's the workforce of the nation. Now we see that they are now reducing work days. Imagine a civil servant, federal government workers reducing work days to 2-3 a week. How bad can that get?
Princess, permit me to say this.
Go ahead.
You see, my concern is not really it's not about this. I call these are the little.
No. That is, we need to still focus. Like he did say, this is the primary. We have the long term and the short term.
Yes, but
if these people are not strong, they are not fit, they are not well enough. How would they have the strength to even fight for this? Labor movement we'll talk about. The issue is that, first of all, they need to be okay. If you've been to Abuja, for instance, you will know that if you don't have resources, you can't move from point A to B. If you're not eating well, there was a time, I give you a story. There was a time they had to ban these 3 cycles from Apple Road to Area 1 because of they were so rough then and they had to stop, and then they were using them as a means of robbery and all that attacks. And I stood there. I was not aware. So I was just going to work. I was actually going to zone 4, like, okay, when I go there, but I think I was going to change dollars then. I'm like, okay, if I change dollars from there, I'll go back home. There was no cab, there was no taxi, there was no tricycle because these guys now started protesting. They had to block everywhere, so vehicles could not come in. Do you know, I was under the sun. I stood for like 2-3 hours, and I needed to really go out. I had to find my way. A private car owner came and I entered. Do you know the moment I came down of that car, because a lot of people just rushed in like 7 people lapping each other just to get off. And you know, when I just slumped there, do you know they had to pour water all over me to revive me. Now, Abuja is difficult, not just Abuja, but everywhere in Nigeria. It's becoming so difficult for them. So, if we're fighting for a struggle or a movement in better Nigeria, you need to stay alive to fight for that. And so that is where the issue of wage award, maybe palliatives or minimum wage now comes in. Then, because this is a short term, we still have the long term. Do you understand?
Yes, because I'm going to rest my case. My own is understanding the concept. You understand the details of it. If I say minimum wage, somebody think, oh, it's what I'll take and put in my pocket. No, I look at the social, political, and the cultural implication of minimum wage. That is where I come in. Because with minimum wage, then that thing called slavery. I want to remind Nigerians that when the people came to take us as slaves, white people came at a point in time to take us as slaves. You know what they did? The only reason they would call it slavery was because we were not paid the decent amount. They were still feeding us. They took us as slaves, but they were still giving us food. Meaning they were giving us something, but it was not compared to the work we were given. Okay, now what is the difference now? Because if you say coming to Europe is slavery, then we are slavery because we are begging. Nigerians are come to Europe today to come and work. But the difference is that they have made sure that if you work here now, you get your money. And good money.
Two ways about it.
You know, good money. See the difference between Nigeria and here, and I want to say this to Nigerians. Most of us here, sometimes we do cleaning jobs. Anybody that come to you can say he starts with a great job is a liar. We start with one odd job before you find yourself into the system. Meaning, what I'm doing here.
And even with the cleaning jobs, you're still being paid. It's still you're
What I want to say to you is that most of the first houses we build in Africa is from cleaning. 90% of people here, the job when you are a cleaner here, the earning is enough to build your house at home. Can you imagine what we're saying? Because we are well paid.
And that is why everybody wants to leave.
No, that's not the point. It's understanding that it's not. So it's not here. Why am I coming here? It's not because of the job I will do here. It's the amount I will be paid.
Yes.
See, that's why I used the instance at the beginning. Nobody have a driver here because a driver will be earning minimum of 2,500 pounds, so it's about 2.5 million naira. You don't want to pay that money.
You have to drive yourself.
Thank you. So, and it is because when I am in Nigeria and I see people with very fast stomach and people driving them at the front, I get irritated. And I ask, who are you to have somebody driving you? You understand? Because you have a slave. That becomes a slave. Because a slave is somebody that will not be paid well. He's sitting down there, his salary is probably 50,000 naira, driving your fast stomach to work. The government allow it. You see what I'm saying? So it will be seen on that concept of slavery, human dignity, and economical. Rather, it's a cultural thing because in those days, you don't tell a big man or a man who has his own family to sit at the front and drive you. Culturally, it's the wrong thing. All right? Secondly, politically, it's the wrong thing. Then economically, the man is a slave. So let us approach it from that angle and say, Princess, when I get to Nigeria and I see people having gate men, imagine somebody sit down for your gate now just to open the door for you. What did you do?
You know, Daddy Kris is quite disheartening as well. But
crown it all. The policemen in Nigeria. No, keep quiet today. You brought me here, and I'll say it. The policemen in Nigeria, they pack them on top of pickups and drive the senator. Hey. You know, imagine the psychic of an ordinary policeman. Come and see a British policeman here. Who the hell are you? The British policeman, a constable will arrest the prime minister. If the prime minister is found wanting. You understand? How can that man that is driving you like your slave even talk to you? They are your servant now. They are your slave. Servant is a good word. They are your slave. So slavery must be moved out of Nigeria with decent wages. It doesn't have to be by force. The government don't need to force it. With decent wages, all those ones will wipe away. You will not take somebody as a gate man because you can't afford it.
Now, there's something I want us to take home from these shows today, viewers. Chukuma did say, so one of their complaints or argument was that this money is being put together for palliatives. They did a calculation and it's quite disheartening. Like Daddy Chris said, we could even contribute a little we have to government
Yes.
to make sure they establish something. Why not put all this together, make sure that the refineries are working,
Thank you.
something is working.
We'll
And
suffer for some
that
time.
has been my argument, even though some of the youths I bring here, they tell they need this to survive. But
Yeah, they
what
don't
we
need it.
need is this. The salary fine, but this palliative is actually my problem. You pay so much, and we know still that this money might not even get to the people they're supposed
And
to.
even if
go
it gets
to.
to them, Princess, this is what we call toffee ideology. I say it every day. You know what is toffee? When we're growing up, there's something we call toffee. The sweet way. We call it goody goody. Those of you that are growing my time, we call it goody goody. You know what goody goody does? It is sweet for mouth, but they kill you inside. You know when you eat a lot of sugar, sugar is the most sweetest thing you can take. But sugar is the thing killing everybody today. Because sugar will cause diabetes. All the illnesses we hear in the back now is sugar. So we're not taking bitter leaf to clear sugar. I can't take sugar now. That is exactly what the government is doing. They give you sugar. When you say give me palliative, they're giving you sugar to lick, which is going to kill you. The truth is, let the government keep that money and build a sustainable industry for us to live on. We can survive for some few days, for 2 months, 3 months. Keep the money, government. Build something. Don't give us sugar to kill us. That's what I'm saying. Thank you very much.
Yes, that of course will be the take home today. We do hope as well that the nice Labour and government will come to a conclusion that will be of betterment for not just the Nigerian workers but Nigerians as a whole. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. It's Inside Nigeria, of course. Nigeria is our country. Nigeria must be great. Thank you so much, Daddy Kris. They are doing justice this morning, and of course, we had a guest earlier, Chukuma. Thanks to you, viewers. I'll see you again next week on the show. And remember, just before we let you go, do follow us on our social media handles. Invite somebody to the page. Leave us with your comments. We love to have your opinion on the things we do here. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube as well. And when you are out there, remember, we know how difficult everything is in Nigeria. It's the pressure is just so much on everybody. But please, let's give peace a chance. For peace is priceless. And remember to stay on water as well. Have yourself a very beautiful day and a nice week ahead. Bye.
SR TV.